If you're looking to build a business which is scalable, but not only that, replenishable, I'm going to introduce you to someone who has managed to build their online arbitrage business to $200,000 a month by using this technique that you're going to absolutely love. Stay tuned. I think you're going to love it.
I've been selling on Amazon since December of 2015. I started with just regular arbitrage stuff, clearance aisles and trying to flip products from Walmart onto Amazon. Kind of stumbled into the Replens method, and that replenishable model brought me up to 6 figures a month in sales. My biggest month was $200K per month. Transitioned into helping other sellers from a software perspective and other things, plus doing more wholesale.
So if I'm a newbie to Amazon and I'm getting started, what is the Replens model?
So Replens is just simply buying something from one place at full price and selling it on Amazon or another third-party marketplace at a markup. And so whether you're buying from Walmart or you're buying from Target or you're buying from a retail store in your local area, it's buying that at full price and selling it for more on Amazon. And the reason that I say full price is because we want this to be replenishable to your business. That's why it's called a replen. If it's replenishable to your business, more than likely it's not going to be a clearance product because clearance products go away from the store. So that's why we're looking for those full price products. Sometimes you may find maybe something that's on sale at a store that you can use, and that sale happens every 3 months or once a year. That can be considered a replen because you're replenishing it to your business, but ultimately the goal is to find full price products that then you can sell for more on Amazon. I know some people will say that's a difficult thing to do, and it can be difficult, but once you get used to the process, you'll start seeing more and more of these opportunities once you get kind of used to how to source for those items. And so it's just it's something that not only myself, but so many other people that I've helped have seen huge success with. And we've seen people grow far beyond what I ever made it to, which was up to 200K in the biggest month. And we've had people do much more than that. We've also had people that consistently do 10K a month or 5K a month, and they're happy there, right? So there's just tons of opportunity with it.
There are lots of other models in the Amazon space to learn from. For example, things like bundles. People talk about like storefront stalking. People talk about newsletter sourcing, voucher codes. Like, how is Replens different to that?
Yeah, so I would say Replens is actually can in some ways be kind of I think the word would be like a conglomeration of all of those different methods. It's more of just the philosophy behind how are you sourcing and how are you trying to build your business, right? So if I take a look at we're sourcing weekly ads or those sales cycles that come out, well, sometimes those happen on a consistent basis. And more than likely, sellers that don't know about Replens or don't think about the foundation of setting their business up in a way that's replenishable, they'll source those ads, they'll source those deals, and they will ultimately comes back to, for Replens, just that it can be a conglomeration of all these different methods, right? So you can source full price products. You can use the Keep a Data product finder. You can use any of these sales cycles that come through, and you're getting consistent leads from those sales cycles, and you're trying to stay up to date with them. Ultimately, it's a philosophy, in my opinion, of how do you want to source and how do you want to build your business? Because anyone that gets into Amazon, they may see it from the flashy sales that they find on social media or on YouTube, and they see these opportunities and they start to look for these deals for flipping Nike shoes or for flipping certain products. But if you're really trying to build a business, then you need to have a foundation that you can rely on as you move forward. And you can use all these methods of sourcing. You can utilize some clearance items if you want to build up your profit. I'm not saying to avoid that, but you may see sales cycles or you may see bundles that you can purchase. And then in a month or 2 months or 3 months, that same sales cycle happens again, and you can buy a bunch of them because you've already tested these opportunities and you send them in and build your business from there. Ultimately, it may differ in just the philosophy of how you want to build your business, but it is still going to be using a lot of the similar methods that you mentioned from a sourcing perspective. I never want to say, hey, one method of sourcing is better than the other. Some people will gravitate towards one or the other. It just comes back to being able to build that base of products that then you can go back and purchase over and over again. And I will never turn away. If there's profit to be had, I'm not going to turn away product, right? If it's clearance, I'm not going to say, oh, that can't be a product that I'm going to sell because it's not a replenishable product. However, it is nice to have a good base of replens and to focus on that as the majority of your sourcing.
How long does it take to learn the replen model? How difficult is it? And what kind of results do you see from your students? You talked about revenue-wise, but I'm really talking about if someone's looking at this right now, they want to start doing it, how long should they be like, okay, here's how long I should take to develop this skill set?
Yeah. So from a results standpoint, obviously will vary. What I typically would say from a learning standpoint, the Replens model and arbitrage in general, it's a simple model, but it does require hard work. So I usually like to tell anyone that gets into any business from especially an Amazon perspective, to be willing to work at something for a minimum of 6 months before you get distracted with a separate opportunity or separate way of doing things. So if somebody wants to build through arbitrage and Replens, they should give it at least 6 months to learn the ropes, learn how to source, start getting products into Amazon and see how the selling process, really what that process looks like. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to take 6 months to get results. It may take 2 months. It may take 8 months. Ultimately, we all have different goals. You can absolutely get started in Amazon and Replens, and within 2 weeks, be sending in a small shipment of some products that you want to test to see how well they're going to sell. And then those things will probably go live 3 to 4 weeks later on Amazon. So at the earliest, you'll probably see results. If you started today with no knowledge, at the earliest you'd see the results would probably be 2 months. I personally see the majority of people really hit their stride after about 4 months, if you're brand new and you're actually focused on doing this. But some people can go much faster. Some people can go a little bit slower. It just depends on the person and their time and how well they're grasping the concept.
Absolutely. And I think this is a really important distinction to make to people who are watching this, is that number one, it takes time for anything to buy, get into Amazon and get selling. But number two, I always use the analogy, you spend 4 years at university studying something before you get paid. And I think that's a really important distinction, is to say, don't try and start this today and think you're going to get a result tomorrow. Like, you've got to develop the habit, you've got to develop the skill set. Have you got a couple of examples that you can share with us?
Yeah. So here's some examples. I wanted to make sure that I pulled up a bunch of different options so that we can go through them together. And, people can see that it's not just grocery products. It's not just, things that are consumable. I think a lot of people that get into Replens have the misunderstanding that, these are things that I buy over and over. Like, I eat Oreos all the time, so Oreos are the only things that are replenishable. But that's not the case. We've got things such as tie-dye rubber bands that could be a good opportunity. Now, this is actually not going to be the best because it's a very cheap product, but I do want to show you kind of the thought process behind Replens, because as we're looking at what we're trying to build in our business, we're trying to build a bunch of different streams of income into one business. Or you could look at it as if you're building a house. Each one of these Replens are bricks in that house, and it may not provide tens of thousands of dollars for one product in a month, but it may provide you with $100 or $50, but you have 200 of those bricks or 400 of those bricks. And over time, it really is a lot of different opportunities for you to grow your business. And I want to point out too, that if you're a new seller and you're brand new and you're just trying to get used to this process, Tom had mentioned that people go 4 years to college before they'll ever get paid. And so sometimes they expect a fast result with Amazon when it may take a little bit longer. That's absolutely true. And we also need to be willing to test products as a new seller. So if you're somebody that's new and you've got $1,000 to spend, well, what if you spend $1,000 and you just get the $1,000 back and you make $0 profit, but you do that over 4 months? However, you've learned a lot along that journey, and now you can buy profitable products. I think if you're new and you're just trying to get used to the process, you should look for some opportunities and not pass up on things that are 20% return on investment, because you can then get some money back out of it and then learn from that process. So I like to give that caveat for people, because I think it's scary sometimes to put your money out into an opportunity you've never heard of, and you might lose a little bit here or there. Ultimately, though, if you buy based off of good criteria, then you may at least get your money back out of it. And that's what I love about this opportunity with selling on Amazon and with arbitrage, is that if you do things right, the worst case scenario, the way I teach it, is typically going to be that you get your money back out of that product, especially if you look at a wide enough data set of products. So let's take a look at this first one. I've got a few up here that we can go through all across the board. This is actually from Walmart. In this case, let's see. This one is going to be more pickup or delivery. I'm not going to be talking about cashback, discounted gift cards, any of those types of things that help with your profitability. All of that is probably for a separate video. So this is just straight what we can buy it for as of today. So I'm going to hide this. This particular product is is able to be picked up from Walmart. So if you want to do retail arbitrage, this is a great option, or you can have it delivered to your home, or even if you are overseas and you have a prep center in the United States and there's the ability to deliver from Walmart to that prep center, you can do these types of things as well. Now, this is only $1.12. It's size 54, 2 ounces. And if we come back to Amazon here, it's the same exact product. Now, this is a very cheap product, but at this level, you're making $1.39 or 125% return on your investment. Now, this is something that I'm not exactly going to say go out and buy because it's very, very cheap. We've got other examples that are not, but I do want to show you kind of what a Keepa chart can look like if you were to look at this for a long enough time horizon. Now, this is a slower seller, but again, if you're trying to learn what products to sell, we need to look at Keepa consistently. And we need to see 3 main things on a Keepa chart. One is this sales rank line. We want to make sure it's going up and down consistently. So this green line right there, it is consistently selling. That does not equate to one sale every drop. It could be 4 or 5 sales, there could be changes, but it does show it's consistently selling, albeit very slowly. The second thing we want to look at is the pricing stability. I typically like to look at the buy box, which is the pink line. If for whatever reason there is no buy box, then we are looking at these orange triangles right here for the FBA price. And this is steady. It's fairly consistent. It doesn't change much. And so that I care about. I like to make sure that I'm not going to lose a bunch of money and that it doesn't go to $15 and then down to $2. Like that's a big problem. And then the third thing in a Keepa chart down here, I'm going to take off this review count. We're looking at the new offer count, and we want to see that sellers are going up and down in this chart. So that way it's not a bunch of sellers climbing up and to the right. We don't see 50 sellers on here when 3 weeks ago it was at 20. We're seeing up and down consistent sales happening from sellers falling off this listing. So this is the basics of a Keepa chart that we want to look at for most of these different opportunities. After that, if this is all consistent, it checks out in a steady price, it's got steady sales, and it has a good up and down of the offer count, then we can have some confidence that ultimately this is a good product to test. And I say test very intentionally because we're not trying to get on here and just find a winner right away. We are now testing to see if this is going to sell on our account. We're going to send in 4 to 6 of this item, maybe up to 10 if you're really confident in it. So that way we can see, does it sell in our account? It should, but if you've got 0 reviews and you're competing with someone on the listing that has 10,000 reviews, it may not sell that fast, right? And so there's these types of things that we need to test products. But ultimately, if you sent this in at $6.49, and you're able to make $1.39 profit currently, if this were to drop down to $4.84, that's the break-even price, right? If I zoom in on that, the break-even price is $4.84. So at worst, this product drops about $1.60, and we're able to make or at least get our money back out of it. Okay. So this is something, according to this software tool, which I'm using, Ace and Zen, sells about 45 times a month. I actually don't necessarily agree with that. If I'm looking at this, it's probably selling about 10 to 20. But it could depend on the season. So I would probably test about 4 of these, knowing that for me, that cost is going to be like $6, right? So it's not that bad to test an item. And again, this is just one brick in the house that you're trying to build. Okay. So this would be a potential opportunity. So this is just one of those tests. If you hate it, that's fine. We can go on to another one. So here's the next one. This is Fisher Peanuts Sea Salt, dry roasted, 36 ounces. It's 2 pounds, 4 ounces. We just need to make sure that these products are accurate. Now, there are a couple of things this software tool tells us. One is Amazon has been on this listing in the last 90 days, which that's an important thing to know. And then also there was an IP claim on this, but it was back in 2022. So I use other clues to know if there's issues with this listing now. That doesn't mean that we're 100% safe or that there won't be any issues of a claim coming against our account. But ultimately, if it's back in 2022 and we have some other green flags for this listing, then I'm willing to list on it. So if we're looking at this actually costs, let me make sure this is still accurate once this refreshes. This is $6.79 when purchased online. I'll go ahead and close out of that. If I remember right, whenever I went to this website, they also had a 10% off code if I was a new person buying from here. This is an opportunity that they can ship, or you can do store pickup. And so depending on the type of seller you are, this could be a good option. Now, this is 36 ounce sea salt dry roasted peanuts for Fisher. If I go back here, again, 36 ounce Fisher sea salt dry roasted peanuts. So we're good on that. This product at $6.79 makes us $7.84 of profit. 116% return on investment. You may have some extra prep fees and things like that that go into it, but ultimately this is just the regular profit. And this does include the shipping into Amazon. I've got $1 of shipping into Amazon in all of these fees based off the weight of the product. Now, according to Ace and Zen, it sells about 139 times per month. If I scroll down here, this does have Amazon on the listing. However, Amazon sometimes will share these listings, and I usually like to look at the up and down chart for this new offer count right here. We are seeing an indication that Amazon is having other sellers come on this listing and sell out. If I were to actually zoom in on the 3 months and I click into one of these, let's see, you can see this isn't going to be perfectly accurate. Keepa's never perfectly accurate with stock counts, but there is movement up and down for this seller. All right. And I just like to see that. I'm not going to say that this sells, 10 times in a day for that seller, but we do see some movement. Same if we were to come over here, let's see if it gives us a different seller. This one shows some movement that whenever they were listed on it, it probably sold. And the reason that I like to show this is because Amazon does have so many warehouses across the country, and they're going to stock your products in different warehouses. And so Amazon cares about delivery promises before just about anything else. And so if they can deliver your product faster than from another warehouse with another seller or even Amazon themselves, they will fulfill that. So this gives me indications that it will sell. I'd be willing to test this product. Again, this is something we're testing. The biggest concern is that it did drop down to this price at sometime in June. And so it may be something that if you're not comfortable with that drop, if it were to go there again, then maybe you don't test it. But for me, at this pricing level, around $24, $25, it seems fairly stable at that point. And so I would be willing to test this product, knowing that if it dropped down to $16, that's where I'm breaking even. Okay. So we have about $10 of price dropping that we'd be fine with. All right. So that was another example where Amazon is on the listing. Now, if we were to go to the next one, this is another grocery product. This is Louisiana fish fry. It's a little bit bigger. It's 5.75 pounds. This actually costs $8.48. It is a lower return on investment, but still 43% ROI is a fairly good return if you were to look at just about any other business opportunity out there. And so I'm cool with that. It does have a good monthly sales selling history according to Ace and Zen. And this one is actually from Sam's Club. It's $8.48. It does ship. And depending on where you're at, it may be pickup or delivery. So we're going to look at the shipping options here. But this is a 5.75 pound bottle of this stuff. Now you can see that the label looks a little bit different, but as long as the product is the same, it's up to you if you want to sell it or not. The label just may be different on the product page on Sam's Club and may actually show up like this, depending on which one is the accurate one. But if we're taking a look at this, there's only one FBA seller currently. If we look at the last year, we can see that it stays fairly consistent, $26.99 for the majority of it. And if we drop down here, it was a little bit cheaper. Now, there is one concern, right? And so I'm trying to go through some red flags that you should look out for if you're doing Replens, because you could find this and be like, cool, I'm going to list on it. It's great. However, Louisiana Fish Fry is the brand, and they are also the ones selling it. So we have to be a little bit careful in those scenarios. Some sellers may be willing to list on this, and some sellers may not. I personally would avoid it. If we go back to the entirety of the listing, we can see here that this huge drop off in sellers was most likely an IP claim. So even if a software isn't telling you that there's an IP issue, this is something I would personally avoid because it could be a potential IP claim on your account, especially since the brand themselves is listing this. Okay. If it was a different seller or 2 or 3 other sellers, I'd probably be okay trying it. But I just want to point that out that, hey, we have to look out for some of these red flags too. I don't want people's accounts to get in jeopardy just because there's a good opportunity to sell it from a profitability standpoint. That's why I gave so many examples here. All right. Now on to the next one. This one has 7 FBA offers. I like to see that. Ultimately, we know that there's a lot of arbitrage sellers on this. This costs $6.22 for this Disney Princess finger puppet set. It is a Disney product, so you would need to be ungated in it. I personally am ungated in Disney, as are a lot of sellers, but depending on where you're at in your business, you may not be, or you could just get an invoice for Disney products to get ungated. You'd make $4.60 of profit, 74% return on investment. This is actually specifically from FastTrackHEB, $6.22. And they also have a bunch of other versions of this product that I would recommend looking at as well. Potentially could be multiple types of listings here that you can have from a replenishable standpoint. If we go down to the Keepa chart real quick, I'll just look at this. One thing here, I do like that the price is consistent. The buy box stays at about the $17 point. It has dropped down to a little bit cheaper at times, 16 or so. The only concern is this raising seller count because of the price and the profitability. I would be willing to test this out because it'd have to drop down to $12, which it's not done in the last year. And so I'd be willing to try to test that out to see if we can make some good money. Again, if the worst case is that you break even, you're putting $10 out, you're getting $10 back. That's not a big deal, in my opinion. That's how you learn, and that's how you build replens over time. Now, this is a variation listing. Some people may have questions about that. If you were to actually look at the variations, I'm going to give a quick, little bit more detailed lesson real quick. Variations here, you can see the ratings. 86% of the ratings on this variation listing have come from this particular ASIN itself. So that to me shows me that it does sell well enough for me to test. If this had said 1%, like this frozen one says 1.32%, I may not be willing to test it because it doesn't sell as much as these others. So I just want to throw that out there for you too. The next thing is this. This is a way different product. This is Precision Metals Music Wire. There are some things that you may not want to deal with this, but you may. It's a bigger product. And so I just want people to be aware. I am not oblivious to that fact. Some people, especially on YouTube in comments, may say, hey, this is a huge product. I'd never touch that. But depending on what your parameters are and what type of business you are, to pay $3.29 for a $5 profit may be worth it. And again, that does include the inbound shipping cost. Based off the weight of the product. This is a pretty big variation here. And so if we're taking a look at this, though, we see a very consistent price. We see a big amount of fluctuating sellers here, and we see a lot of sales happening. And even the FBA price of $32.62, that's the actual FBA price. If we were to look at this, I'm actually pricing this at $21.50. So if for whatever reason we could get $32.62 competing with FBA, we'd actually have about a $15 profit based off this information. And if we click into this $32.62, we can see it's kind of a newer listing. I would be willing to bet you're not going to sell it that high. You're probably going to sell it down here around $21.50, which is why I put that pricing at that level whenever I got the example up for us. So it does have the ability to make some good money. This actually comes from True Value. Music Wire, the listing looks a little bit different, but it is the actual same like SKU number and everything like that. So I did some double checking there. So it's just a bad picture, model number and item number and everything. But Music Wire, 5x32, 36 inches. This is actually showing 329. Yep, 329 there. So it's just not the best picture, but ultimately the UPC and the model number and everything do match up from the stuff that I was checking on. Okay. Then the next thing is going to be this one. This is one of my favorite ones. This one, you can see actually that Amazon shows that it's sold 400 times in the last month. Now, as of the time of this recording, this is August when we're recording this. And so we're getting into the fall season where pumpkin stuff is very popular. This item in particular, if I take a look, this is from Webstront Store, is $8.49 to purchase this product. Now, there may be some additional shipping in there, but you can see if you are with the Plus membership that they have here, you can unlock free shipping. So if you're serious about this and you like this store and you find a bunch of products, it may be worth being a Plus member so that you can get free shipping on this. So at $8.49 for this product, Anchor Glass Pumpkin Candy Jar by Anchor Hocking. If we look here, this is an Anchor Hocking. It says 2.2 quarts. Okay, that's an important thing to know. And it also says down here, if I remember right, it's got the size. So 5 inches is the maximum diameter with a height of 7.5. Now, if we actually scroll down, it says 5 inch by 5 inch by 7.5. So these dimensions do match. And then it says capacity 2 liters. Now, I had to look up the conversion of liters to quarts, and it is the same amount. So it's 2.2 quarts or 2 liters. And so that's something to keep in mind. I'm happy to pull that up here in a second if anybody wants, if you would want me to. But ultimately, it is the same product as we're seeing here. Okay, let me pull this back up. Now at 849, we are making $6.76. If I take off this custom cost, we're making 801 or 94% return on investment. And again, since this is a fall type product, it's selling a lot right now. And so we have to take a look at this. You can see the sales rank really has sped up as we got into August, even though the price has gone from 23 up to 29. So if I look back on this last year, it stays fairly consistent around this $23 price point. And last year it was around $30 during the Halloween and fall season. You do see an increase in sellers, so be aware of that if you were to purchase this now. But you also see an increase in sales. So it was selling 50 times a month, and at its height, it got up to, 800 times a month. According to Amazon, this isn't even a Keepa metric. This is what Keepa's tracking. So it really speeds up, and you've got the ability to sell quite a few of these in the fall time. So this could be a seasonal replen for you if you did this every year, or you may even be able to sell it throughout the year with some of the slower sales that can happen here. Ultimately, though, you've got $20.57 is the break-even price. Throughout the whole year, it stays above that price point. So you're still making profit, even if you sold it at these lower price selling prices. So to me, this is a good opportunity from a replen standpoint. We can also see here, if I hover over this, that it went from 50 times a month to less than 50. Once Keepa stops tracking this information from Amazon, we know it's selling slower than that. And you can tell based off the sales rank. But now it's starting to pick back up to 50, 100, 200, and now up to 400 times in a month is where it's currently at. So I just wanted to point that out. We are also seeing a small spike in sellers because of the seasonality of the item. So be aware of that as we're looking at it. But this would be something I would test based off the last year of the Keepa charts too. So this is, these are a lot of different replens opportunities. One or two of these, you may want to pass on because of the stuff that I mentioned, but a few of, or more than half of these, I would say I would purchase myself and I would send in. I would actually probably purchase all of these except for the Louisiana fish fry one that had Louisiana fish fry as the seller. So hopefully this helps kind of shed some light on what we're looking for, right? We are looking for opportunities that have good Keepa charts and that we can buy at fairly full price. I believe all of these were at full price except for maybe one of them, if I remember right. So ultimately, that's what we're looking for from a replen standpoint. If you were to sell 5 units of these each month, right, 5 of just this one at this price, you'd make $40, right? And if you do that on 5 of these, you're making a few $100s of profit just from these listings that I pulled up, let alone all the other things that maybe this sparks, an opportunity for you to search for other fall items or other anchor glass items. Or maybe you now found out about this store and you unlock the free shipping because you pay for the membership for that Webstront store. And now you're going to source other products from them, right? It's about one brick at a time and building up that base so that then you can grow and scale your business from there.
Brilliant. I absolutely love it. I just want to say thank you so much for A, bringing all the examples and then B, going through them in such detail. And I mean, if I summarize what I've taken away from that, 1, you want really good Keepa knowledge. You're really diving into that Keepa graph, trying to get the experience. So I think that's really, really important. Number 2, it's about testing. Even if you think it's a good deal, you are testing and you're only talking a couple of units, maybe up to 10 if you're feeling really confident. I think that's really important. You're looking to understand the sales through that test, which is really important. And then number 3, obviously being very careful of IP complaints, brands on the listings, things that we looked at. I think you talked about the fish fry, really, really good. And then the one thing which I do love, and again, I love about the model, is that worst case scenario, generally you're just going to get your money back. So basically the test has cost you nothing other than a bit of time. So that's what I absolutely love about it. Just for you, I appreciate this. You've talked through here, software-wise, tech stack, like what tools are you using to do this business model? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I, from a most basic level, obviously Keepa, that's 100%. You have to have Keepa. I like to also use a profit calculator, as you saw in here. I use Ace and Zen currently. I've also used RevSeller. I like both of those. People use SellerAmp as well. That's totally fine. Ultimately, you need something to help you speed up that profit calculations. And then the other thing that I think is much more essential, and this is self-serving, but I actually have a software. It's called Replen Dashboard at replendashboard.com. Now, you can get a different software. Ultimately, you're looking for a tool that will track your leads for you. And Replen Dashboard specifically tracks your inventory and helps you to know when you should replenish items, but it also has a lead tracking feature up to 100,000 leads that you can put into the system that will stay up to date with the buy boxes. So actually the way that I went through and found these are things that I have over 23,000 200,000 leads in the system in Replen dashboard. I went through and I sorted by profit, by ROI, and by sales rank. And I just pulled up a few different listings that I had already matched into the lead tracker for that. And so this was something that was really easy for me, because the reason that I think this is important, let me just break it down. If you're sourcing products, and especially if you're a newer seller, you're coming across a lot of items that may be at 20% return on investment, or maybe at 30%, and they don't meet your minimum metrics yet. Well, if you put that into a lead tracker, then you're building up a catalog of items that you can go back to 6 months down the road or a year down the road, and you can pull back these items, because it's all about matching an Amazon ASIN or product page with a link to being able to purchase that product. And as we see on all these examples, prices fluctuate. Also, supplier prices can fluctuate. And so if you see that there's a deal at Macy's, for instance, you can go to your lead tracker, pull back all of the products from Macy's, and you can, say, all right, cool, with an additional 20% off, I'm going to source all of these leads that I've already matched to existing ASINs or products on Amazon. Or because it's tracking the accurate buy box prices and profitability, it's something that can, as they fluctuate in prices, you may find a good opportunity to purchase from just the fluctuations on the Amazon marketplace. So those are things that I recommend from a basic tool stack, is something to track leads, which I self-servingly will say Replen dashboard. It starts at $7 per month for new sellers, and it goes 10,000 leads are included, or up to 10,000 you can put into the system at $7 a month. Keepa, absolutely, and then a profit calculator would be the three things that you need. After that, everything I would prefer, if you had to choose between inventory or software, pay for inventory. And then once you get big enough, you can start looking at some more sourcing software and stuff like that.
Jimmy, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all the demonstrations you've done, so many great deals, and also sharing about this and the opportunity that is available. What I love about Amazon is what is available, and people like you are sharing the information, which is allowing people to change their lives. So from myself and everyone watching, I just want to say thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me back on the channel. I'm excited to be here, and I'm happy to come back on whenever it makes sense for your audience. So thank you, everybody.